Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Real Beast Academy's monthly California real estate update. Southern California Edison. My name is Kenny Tan, and I'm very pleased to be here to give you guys an update on the real estate market and housing market in Southern California. Now, every year, every month, we'll have the Northern California edition as well as the Southern California edition. So today, it is Southern California, and today we have three presenters. Presenter number one is Tim Chen. He's a very experienced real estate agent in Southern California as part of the Sandermac family. And presenter number two is Jean Riley. I'm sure by now everybody knows who Jean Riley is. She's here every single time without fail for every single one of our Southern California monthly real estate update. Okay, she's going to be presenter number two. And presenter number three is Johnny Yu. Johnny Yu is celebrating his daughter's birthday, so he's joining us a little bit late, so that's understandable. So we're going to start with Tim Chen. All right, let's go to Tim Chen. And let's see. All right, Tim. All right, got you on the screen. Briefly introduce yourself and then tell us what you're going to tell us today.
Thank you, Kenny. Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Chen. I am a Sandermac agent. I deal with the Southern California Tri-County. That's including LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino County. And been a real estate agent since 2015. Grew a lot of experience and learned a lot from Kenny and group with the Sandermac. So nice to meet you all
Tim.
tonight.
Okay, now what you can share with us today?
Yes, Kenny. Last time when I had the introduction to the pretty big home site, it's a new development by both Toll Brothers and Lennar. They are building a brand new home site in the city of Montebello. I read it today that could be the last major new home development in Southern California, especially for Los Angeles County. The home actually has over 173 acres and master plan 1,200 new houses. That's including townhomes, single family, and both are very upgraded and a luxurious feel for the whole community. It's in a gated home site. It's on the top of a Montebello Hill. Very convenient location. Very good view towards downtown LA, and also towards the backside of the Montebello Hills. There's golf course and a lot of shopping centers. So this site is definitely a major development that all of our agents should get to know before any buyers ask any or present any interest in buying new homes in the LA County. This home site is very close to downtown LA. For driving distance, I would say between 10 to 15 minutes, you could reach downtown LA either by 60 or 10 freeway. It is also very close to the Asian community in Monterey Park. It's about 5 minutes north into Monterey Park. It's not too far away towards Orange County because there are three major freeways close to Montebello. That's 605, 60, and 5. And also, it is very close to, I think everybody knows since our office is in Diamond Bar, Rolla Heights area. So this location is very convenient, basically a center for all activities that a lot of new home buyers will look into. So before I get into deeper, I would just want to let everyone know that this home site is called the Metro Heights in Montebello. It is built by Toll Brothers and Lennar. they had a very successful experience in building a home site in Orange County called the Altair in Irvine. That community turned out to be better than expected, and a lot of buyers, they want to go for quality built homes. They will look into um, Lennar and Toll Brothers. Reason being is that both Lennar and Toll Brothers are publicly traded company, and they have been in the industry, I would say, for over 70 years. Lennar started around 1954. Toll Brothers started at 1967. So these two are very experienced home builders. They will cater to the buyer's taste, and the material and workmanship they put in each home. I would say it's considered to be among the best for the house to be either green, energy saving, and also down the road that you don't need to spend too much money to maintain and an upgrade in the future. So with all that reason being put into, I would say the price point of these homes that's at the Metro Heights is very reasonable. Now, what I got sales at the Toll Brothers information is that they are going to start um, making the phase and also the plans a release by the end of this year. So I would say winter this year, you will start seeing the phase plans, the square footage, and also which location of the phase will be released. By 2022, early 2022, there will be model homes available. Now, I go to that home site almost on a weekly basis. Right now, of course, it's still flat ground. It's all trenched, and also a lot of area has a concrete slab. So for the model homes to be built on the concrete slab, it's fairly quick. I would say within 3 months of time, the model homes will be completed. So with saying that, I have a few pictures that I
Okay,
sent Kenny. Let's take a look.
of course. First one.
Okay, so this is the first picture. It is a bird's eye view of the whole community. This is a 173-acre development, uh, basically at the top of the hill. So in terms of noise, air quality, uh, city view, and all those factored in, this is like a very it's a very highly um, anticipated for a lot of home buyers to look into. It's not any of those I would say flat ground cookie cutter type homes that the only thing you can see is neighbor's wall. These houses have been planned very well. That it's a very uh, good for your eyes to see. And also in this area, you have a lot of parks, a lot of the facilities that you could use for the homeowners. There are a bunch of swimming pools. There are gyms that you don't even need to go out and apply for a membership, and you could use right in your home site. So this is basically a very well planned and developed home site for the LA County, and this have been planned ever since 2019. So let's go to the next photo, Kenny.
Of course.
So this is a live photo, meaning that on their website you can actually click on the the circles to see which area divided by which builder have what type of home, what it looks like, what the square footage is, and of course the price range. From what I know is that the square footage of these houses starts from maybe low 2,000 square feet all the way up to mid 4,000 square feet. Of course, the home site have, I would say, starting from Lennar, they have three of them. It's Pinnacle, Meridian, and Vista. These three home sites are at the lower, I was not lower, but at the middle section of the hill. So these are more, I would say, affordable type of townhomes, maybe 2 to 3 stories. And then towards the end, at the pinnacle by Lennar, will be the single family. Not as big as the one that Toll Brothers is going to be building. So Toll Brother basically took the south side of the hill. There are both two of them, a West Ridge and also a Viewpoint. So these two will be luxury and bigger homes for larger family to fulfill their needs. So this mountain right now, I believe this picture was taken middle of this year. So far, it's there's a lot of concrete slab. There's plenty of greens being planted. So I would say the speed of their movement is quite well. Let's go to the next slide, Kenny.
Of course.
Yes, so this is one of the pool that I was talking about for the both the Lennar and the Toll Brothers. The community pool basically looks like a resort, and you don't really need to go anywhere else uh, than your own community to enjoy this type of amenities. So this is something that Toll Brother believes that when you sell a home, they want to make sure you buy something that's more than what your money could get. They use designer to the extreme, to a certain extent, telling them that they don't have a budget to make something that looks beyond excellent. So this is one of the pictures that they're going to build for the community pool, and there's multiple pools in the area, not just this one. Let's go to the next slide. This is inside one of the Toll Brothers model home. I don't believe this is going to be the exact same one as the Metro Heights, but I believe this is one of them they use to present what kind of material they use and how they design the whole house in terms of open space area, in terms of upstairs and downstairs, the interaction between, and all the material they use in the design that they just want to present. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, yeah, this is also one of the community amenities. It's a pool, a lounge, barbecue, sauna, jacuzzi area. So again, this is just basically a resort style living, and you don't even, for most homeowner, you won't even imagine having that in your backyard or in your gated community. So this is just an added plus for all the people that want to purchase the house, and for their money worth, even though they spend a little bit more than most of the new homes, but they get all these added together in terms of a well living space. So these 5 slides basically concludes what they updated last month. And what I have so far is that they will have the model homes definitely built by the end of the year, and starting to present early 2022. So meanwhile, if there's any new information, I will keep you guys updated. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to contact CenterMac professional agents. They will do, they will go the extra mile to help you and find your dream home and fulfill all the needs for your real estate.
All right,
So
all
that's
right.
a wrap. Thank you, Kenny.
Okay, okay. All right. So let's go to Jean Riley. And that will be this screen right here. Okay, Jean, why don't you quickly introduce yourself and tell us what you're going to tell us tonight?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jean. I'm a sentiment agent in San Diego. Got my real estate license in 2016 and joined Sentiment ever since. Definitely enjoy San Diego's real estate, and I also recently closed a deal myself. So I could say I practice what I told my clients to do. So today I'm going to do a presentations about just a quick overview of San Diego market with some key indicators. And then I'm going to share two personal example with you. One of them I represent the buyer, and the other one I represent the seller. So that's the first slide. That's in San Diego. Looking at the September 2021, this is the overall market for single family detached home. As you could see, the existing single family home sale actually decreased by 10% since last year. Which is really interesting because the inventory is still getting very tight. Even the closed sale has reduced since a year ago. However, you will see the purchase price, the sold price for the single family home actually went up by almost 16% compared to last year. And that could be factored into, tight inventory and then also low interest rate. That's why buyers are still making price up. And I will definitely share example with you for one of my buyers. He actually also went up to get the his dream home. So I will share his personal journey with you. And then when we look at the active listing, unfortunately, compared to the same time last year, we actually decreased almost 15%. So inventory is very, very tight. Whenever the house got on the market, usually it gets snapped out very quickly. I have a personal example to share. I have a listing got on the market. It went into pending, I think, in 4 days with 10 offers. And I will be getting more offer if I just didn't cut it off. But anyway, the active listings are significantly less than last year. You will see the days on market is only 9 days, which is actually still very, very short. Previously, a month, 3 week to a month is very normal. Right now, it's only 9 days. And that's why I always tell my buyer, whenever you see a home you love, don't wait. Call me right away so I can get you into your dream home. Otherwise, this is what I say: you snooze, you lose, right? So don't wait. Sales list price is 100.7. What that meant is you probably do need to pay a little bit more than the listing price to get the dream home you wanted. But the good news is actually has decreased from July, which is the highest sell to list price for the entire year. That was at the 105%. So whatever listing you have, you are expect to pay at least 5% or more. For some of my buyers, we are actually paying like 10 to 15% for the house in a good school district. But right now, there's a little relief. You are not expecting to pay that high compared to a list price. But it could also mean sellers are listing the price even higher than before. So this is a little trickier. Usually when the buyer asks me, Jean, how much should I make the offers? I never really say, pay 10 or 15% higher than listing price. I always say, let me take a look and I'll give you my suggestions and we can go from there. The numbers of days on for the active listing with the reduced price is actually 25%. This has increased. And this also is a good news for the buyer. That means more and more houses are doing reductions. So you might be able to snatch a good deals that way. But on the other hand, playing the devil's advocates, it could also means seller are too aggressive in terms of listing the price. Maybe quote unquote they are very what was the right word? Not aggressive. Sorry, forget about the word. But basically, they might be shooting for the moon, and that's why the price are coming down a little bit. So that's kind of the overview for San Diego. I will then share two examples with you. So if we could see the next slides, that will kind of
Okay.
have a picture of a deal. I represent the buyer. So this is a buyer. I help purchase his first home, I think 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Lost track of time. Time goes by so fast when I'm having fun. I really do enjoy helping my buyers buying real estate. So anyway, this is the buyer. I still remember the first time when he contacted me. I think I was giving away a baby cradle, like one of those things you put babies in. And so the wife contacted me, and so I have her meet me at one of my open house. That way I don't need to move the baby crate. Anyway, when the wife saw me, she's like, "Oh, you are a real estate agent." I'm like, "Yes, I am. Would you like to buy a home?" And then we make a connection there. So I did end up helping them buying their first home before, I think was either right before the baby was born or right after the baby was born. But that buyer, I really think he has one of the best luck because I didn't even show any home with him. He found a townhouse himself, and I already sold that townhouse. So when he contacted me, I say, would you like me to write an offer, or would you still want to go see it with me, together? And he said, no, no, it's okay. This is the house I want. So I wrote the offer, have went the offer, and then 2 years later, they outgrow this townhouse because they have another baby, and they literally just have welcome a little baby boy. I think a month ago, literally just a month ago. So we have been seeing not too many houses, maybe just three or four. Um, and this is a buyer. I really do think he has one of the best luck because when I submit this offer for him, the one you saw on the picture, Dale Sir, I didn't go see that house with him either. I think he just have usually found the house himself, and he trusts me, in terms of negotiating the deal for him. So he contacted me, and I say, hey, let's write the offer. And I actually look up the history of this home. So this is really quite interesting. I'll look up the date for you. So basically, this was a house that was built in 2019, only 2 years new, and then it was on the market this year June for $949,000. It got into pending July a month later for 1.06. Is that $100,000 more roughly, right? That's so they sold for $100,000 roughly more. And this is actually one of the community I like. I saw a different house across from this community. So this is a community called Skies. And one of the reasons I really like it is because the amenity and also the proximity to all the shopping. So you don't need to drive. You can walk over to grocery store, Target, the all the shop and restaurant. And also the cool thing about Del Sur, which is one of the best community in San Diego, the school district is excellent. It's amazing. And then the philosophy, so this community is in the Black Mountain Range community. And when the builder built this community, they have the idea to have the park near each of the community, so the resident don't need to go too far to enjoy the outdoor activity and go hiking, walking, biking with the little one. And so they are, if I remember correctly, there are 13 different park. And so they are parked literally, right next to your community. That's really cool. And so my client really liked this house because it's really new and it's on the corner. You can see on the second picture, it's a corner unit. Has all the window, bring out so much light into the house. And also I like the location in terms of the elevations because it's a little higher than the street. So you don't get so much of the street noise, and you actually get a better view of the hill on from your window. So I really like about that one. Anyway, so when my client told me about it, I still remember that was the night before the offer was due, and then I asked him how much he want to offer, and he kind of told me the number, and so we strategized a little bit, and we sent in the offer. So the offer deadline was it was due Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember what time I sent it in, but I did send it in before 11 o'clock, maybe right before. I don't quite remember. Anyway, I then get a seller multiple counter offer. Um, and I was not really paying attention to the due date for the seller multiple counter offer. For some reason, that day I think I just had one of the crazy day. Usually Monday is a little busy because you catch up all the things that need to be done, for the weekends. But I finally found my buyers. I contact him, and I remember that was right around 3:15, and I was talking to him. I called up the document for the seller multiple counter offer. I was reading it with him, and then all of a sudden I saw this offer deadline at 3 o'clock, and I actually scream and curse and say all the bad things because I already passed the deadline for submitting the seller multiple counter offer back. So I asked my buyer, "Do you really want this house?" And then he said yes. So I said, "Okay, let's not talk anymore. Let me contact the listing agent right away because we missed the deadline, and I need to see whether I can still submit the offer for you." So I quickly submit a counter offer back for you. So I quickly contact the listing agent, and luckily, thanks God, it was an agent who I know. I have interacted with him multiple times. Hasn't done any deal with him yet, but I did have some prior interaction with him. So I say, "Would you please wait for me? I know I'm late and apologize. It was my fault, not my buyer's fault, but can you please wait for me?" Then he say, "Okay, text me what you want to write, and I will tell my seller and then quickly sending your buyer's counter for the highest and best." So I remember at that time I asked this listing agent, I said, "Hey, list for 1.095. What was the number looking like?" And he didn't say anything. So I just grabbed a number. I said, "Hey, you must have received offer more than 1.15, right?" Because I was kind of trying to figure out whether he would just say yes or no. And he said yes. So he said, "I have a few." And I'm like, "Oh no." So I contacted the buyer right away. And this is one of the most tense negotiation because I think I negotiate everything in like 30 minutes, just back and forth with the listing agent and the buyer. So at that time, my buyer want to put 1.15 and with few extra number. I usually like to do something a little bit different, so our offer kind of stand apart from other people. So one of the trick I do is having a like an odd number in the end. So I asked my buyer, "Hey, pick some numbers you like, maybe birthday, maybe your lucky number." So there was some number after 1.15. And then I submitted, and then the aging, actually, Kenny, if you can go down to the next page, you will
Of
see the
course.
agents and I, we have a little text conversation. So the negotiation goes because my buyer has a loan contingency, and so the seller agent say, "How sure can you make the loan contingency? You will be in the top three, but not sure you will get that. We will let the seller know. Thank you." Then I wrote back. I was talking to my buyer, and I say, 14 days or less. My buyer is talking to the loan officer. He might be able to remove the loan contingency too. Based on my recollections, I think he has $500,000 cash. He just preferred not to put all of it. And then I went back to my buyer, and the buyer said he couldn't find his loan officer. So I just need to. So I call a different loan officer I know, and I say, "Here's a number from my buyer. Can you try to figure out whether he will qualify and how strongly he was?" And so I did get the okay from the loan officer I know, saying the buyer is all legit, everything is good. So then I asked the buyer, "What would you like to do?" And then and then I went back to the listing agent the same time. So the listing agent said, just get off the phone with the seller. If you can, it's all yours. So if he can, he was negotiating with me offline. He was saying, can your buyer remove all contingency? All, not just inspection, not just appraisal, not just loan, but title, seller disclosure, HOA dot, everything. So literally my buyer, he want my buyer to agree to buy it regardless. It's not going to back out. And then that's when I contact my buyer, because I was like, great, we don't have anything to back out. Because I was thinking if we have some type of contingency, I can still help my buyer get out of the escrow if something goes wrong, right? And the listing agent is like, no, you need to remove everything if you want that. I talked to my buyer. My buyer originally feel uncomfortable, but then I kind of rationalize with him. I say, you know, you already want to remove appraisal contingency because you told me regardless you will still want to buy this house, right? And then inspection, you know, this house was built in 2019. That's not going to be any major problem as far as I can tell. And then you already say you're going to remove loan contingency. So what's left is seller disclosure, HOA dot, title report, preliminary title report. You feel like you are holding on something that can protect you, but it's a forced sense of security. You know why? Because preliminary title report, I know the title is not going to have any problems just because this house just literally sold not long ago. So if the title company can issue title policies, I know there will be nothing wrong with the preliminary title report. And then the HOA document, the same thing. Most of HOA documents don't really have any problem, especially with a new community. We know there's no active litigation. And then seller disclosure, you know, very similar. Someone just bought this townhouse 3 months prior. Well, actually, yeah, 3 months prior. So I really don't think anything will go wrong. However, it's still up to you to decide whether you want to buy this home. I don't think it's a lot of risk if you want to remove all the contingency, but the decision is on you. So my buyer say, yeah, that's fine. And then so I went back to the buyer, listing agent, and listing agent say, just go off the phone with the seller if you can if you can remove all the contingency. That's what pretty much what he said. He says it's all yours. And then he wrote, this is one of the nicest things people have said to me. And FYI, you are not the highest offer. They want simple, and my broker love you. So pretty much we won the offer, even though we were not the highest offer, because we have a very straightforward offer, very simple. And then I have prior relationship with the listing agent's broker. Like I mentioned before, I didn't have any previous deal with them. I just know them and I have talked to them. And I think I have done one open house for this broker. When I guess when she need help, she asked the escrow company, any of the agents they know can do the open house. So the escrow people reach out to me, and I did that open house. And I remember I gave that broker a very good summary, let them know, what was the showing like. So I guess that created a very good impression for them. So anyway, then I went back to the buyer, and at that time, my buyer didn't know I have a great news for him yet. He really, really want that house. So he told me, he's like, Jean, if they want me to increase my offer, I'm willing to do it. And he actually said it 3 times. He's like, I want to increase by $30,000. And I'm like, you don't need to. Give me that $30,000 if you have it. Anyway, I didn't say that. But basically, he was willing to pay $30,000 over the accepted price. He just didn't know the seller already accept his offer. So this is one of the coolest deal, because I feel like if I can help my buyers save money, then they can use the money for their kids' education or home improvement project, or maybe a future investment fund for the next property. So this was really cool, and it also goes to show relationship is really important, because this agents receive similar offer, and our offer was not the highest one, but because my prior interaction with them, they know this is going to be a smooth deal if they do this escrow with us. So I was really happy for my buyer. And then, so that was the one for when I represent the buyer. Kenny, if you could go to the next one, this is
Of
the
course.
deal I am doing, and I'm actually representing seller. And I want to use this one as a story to share, just to let you know how competitive the market is in San Diego. So this is a small townhouse, 3 bedrooms in 92126. That's Maya Mesa in San Diego. So Maya Mesa is pretty central. Is near. Actually, it's what the same zip code as our office. The same zip code as Three Root, the new development. It's highly sought after in terms of investment property, also first home purchases, because the price is still relatively affordable, and is close to the major freeway, and also the Qualcomm, which is the biggest private employer in San Diego. So my client purchased this townhome in 2017, and I represent him when he purchased this townhome. He purchased as part of the 1031 exchange. Right now, he's also selling it as part of his 1031 exchange. This time, he's doing a reverse 1031 exchange. So he's selling 3 property, exchanging for one big property. And Kenny, you're going to be so proud of us. So we are doing the 121 and 131 combinations. And we are
1031.
also,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, so the buyer is going to get a lot of tax benefit this way, right? They can combine both of the tax saving strategies. And also, he's doing a reverse 1031. Why is it reverse? Because the 3 property he was selling, um, they all they all rented out. We were doing property management for them, and the tenants are going to move out at different months. And so the tricky thing is, how am I going to make the 45 identification window work if I have 3 different property going to be sold at 3 different times? So I negotiate with the seller, and I explain to them my strategy. I say, I think you should do a reverse, because you told me it would be hard for you to find a replacement property. So if I sell those 3, even if they close right away, what if you couldn't find your replacement property? Then you are not still going to be able to use the 1031. And so he agreed to that, and then I knew that he had some additional fund on the side. So I said, why don't you go ahead and find a replacement property first? Let's lock that in, and then after you lock it in, we have 40 we have 180 days to close once you close your replacement property. And so this is our last one to be sold. I already sold 2 other one, and I still remember when he was purchasing this property, because it was not in a good school district. He was quite worried. He's like, Jean, I for the previous properties I always purchase in good school district. How about this one? This one is not in a good school district. And I told him, I said, don't even worry about it. I know the market inside out. I can do it with my eyes closed. Our office, literally, Kenny, this is like a 2 minutes drive to our office. So I
Two
know the
minutes.
market.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it's so close. I think it's the closest. Oh no, actually, there's another one even closer. Like maybe like 100 yards short closer. So we have 2 property. Actually, 3. Oh, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, 3 property in the close proximity of our office. Anyway, I told the seller, don't. I told the buyer, he was a buyer at that time. I said, don't worry about it. I promise you, I will be able to get you a tenant right away, just because I know the market and this is not going to be a problem. So he was very happy when he was ready to sell. I asked him how much he want to list, and then actually that was a little short things. So the tenant supposed to move out about 2 months ago, and they couldn't find any house to move to. So they asked us to extend the lease with them. Typically, I do not like that idea because I want to be able to get it on the market as soon as possible. But because there was still eviction moratorium at that time, so I couldn't give them any notices. I told the seller that's really, I think it's better just let them extend, and I know they will move out. We'll work very hard to help them find the next property. So the seller agreed. The tenant moved out. The property was in, satisfactory condition. We just need to do tiny minor repair, paint touch up here and there, do the house cleaning. And we got on the market. I remember I got it on, I think, Friday, early morning. And then I still remember, I think I put it on the MLS listing. The Labas will be on before 12 o'clock noon, and I plan to be there at 11:30 so I can get the Labas in before the deadline, right? And when I dropped there was already someone waiting, and I'm like, oh no. So anyhow, Kenny, this is also another thing, as a hunch from the agent. Usually, one of the first few people are very eager and motivated. That's why they were there waiting. So this person was there waiting, and I also got to talk to her a little bit. She's an agent, but she's also representing herself. She's a buyer slash agent. And then she told me she's doing a 1031 exchange, and then her window of 45 days is closing in on her. And I was thinking, interesting. This might be one of the good buyer for this property. So anyway, she went to see it. She submitted offer right away. I believe the same day, that night. Not impressive offer, just a listing price. And I didn't really, I was not ready to worry about it because it literally just the first day of market. On Sunday, Saturday, I have all the open showing. Anyone want to see it can see it. The same thing for Sunday. Anyone who want to see can go see it. But I also have my own open house. And I remember I cater Vivi Bubble Tea, who is also owned by one of my clients and friends. So I cater of the bubble teas. I try to create a lot of activity for the community. And then I also asked a few of my past clients who I think might be a potential buyer for this property, and so they can visit. We have a blast. It was very busy. A lot of hustle bustle. People were here, and so I think I have probably 50 plus more for 2 hours of open house. Quite a few people. And then all the offers start coming in. In the end, we received 10 offers. And this is what I want to talk about strategies with listing agent and also seller if you are thinking about selling your home. So when you get the offer, you don't just at least I didn't just pick one person. We have one person submit very, very high offer. And then the seller say, what do you think about this one? And I say, I think it's a great offer, but would you be willing to let me negotiate a little bit more for you? Because I think I might be able to either get you a higher price or better term. And then the seller say, okay, but I don't want to wait too long. So this is what I did. I submit seller multiple counter offer to every single offer I receive. I didn't just pick the top 3 or top 5. So I submitted to everyone, including the lady who submitted the first offer. That actually happened to be the lowest offer. She actually submitted one of the lowest offer, but she was a 1031 exchange herself, and I knew there might be some possibility for her to go up. Anyhow, submitted offer all back. And then I remember I gave everybody till 5 o'clock that day. And I contact each of the agent, let them know, like, I submit a seller multiple counter offer. If you are interested, please submit it back. I think it was the next day, 5 o'clock. I didn't do the same day. I think it was the next day. Anyway, so I was talking to my seller because my sellers are overseas in Taiwan. And I also make that known to all the buyer's agent. We'll be doing negotiation at night. So watch out for your messages because I might be reaching out to you. And then my seller pick one person. So I quickly contact that person, no response. That was a cash buyer. I think offer was maybe $10,000 to $20,000 less than the highest offer. And I tried to contact the agents. I text, I call, left messages. Actually, the messages mailbox was false. Couldn't leave messages. I text and I might have also sent an email too. No response. So I asked the seller, what would you like to do? Then he said, what would you suggest? So I said, those are the three people I like. And I told the seller my rationale for each of them. One of them was a 1031 exchange buyer because I say I think this person might still have room to go up, and then also the timing is going to work better for you because it's a 1031 exchange, and this person is highly motivated because the 45 days identification window is almost closing for her. So my seller say that's okay. She said, why don't I contact all the three people on the list? And I did. So that including the cash buyer, the 1031 exchange person, and there was one more person I forget. I think that person need to have a loan. Anyway, no one sent me back anything. That night I was waiting. But the very, very next day, I think was 7 something, not even 8 o'clock, the 1031 exchange buyer contacted me right away and say, sorry, I just saw the messages. Can you talk? And I said, sure. So I was talking to her, and then she was still trying to negotiate with me. And I say, that's fine with me if you want to negotiate. I just have a permission to accept your offer if the offer is at X dollar. And then the 1031 exchange buyer, said, well, I like to, maybe go $5,000 less. And I said, that's fine with me. I just need to get the permission from my seller. Then after a little negotiation, the buyer just say, okay, forget about it. Just accept whatever your seller say. So she then quickly sent me a revised buyer counter offer, and she gave me one of the highest price. She also removed inspection contingency. And then with the 1031 exchange buyer, there's no appraise. Well, for her, she didn't put appraisal anyway in the beginning. And for her, she has no loan. So we got her offer accepted. And I remember while I was talking to her, there was another agent call in and another buyer call in. Everybody still want to see. And there was another agent with a 1031 exchange buyer want me to hold off accepting the previous offer. And I say, because my seller already agreed to accept it, I'm going to go ahead and honor my seller's, word for that. Anyhow, so we went into escrow. That also goes to show, like for this type of property, remember I mentioned in San Diego County, the median days on market, I think was 9 days, right, for single family home. For the attached townhouse is a little longer, but it's still not that long. So you snooze, you lose, right? You need to quickly submit the offer. You need to be in communication with the listing agents, and you need to kind of show your motivation, because this is one thing I found. Most of the buyers agents don't really know how to sell their client. They present the offer, they just send it to me via email, and they never really try to mention to me about their buyer's motivations, why the buyer will continue with the escrow and not cancel. See,
Yeah,
for my
that's
seller,
important, Jean. So for the younger and the newer agents that sort of lack the skills in advocating for their buyers, what advice would you give them?
well, I will figure out what are some of the things that might help the buyer. So typically, you can talk about some of the things you can talk about is maybe distance to your current job, or distant to your family or your friends or your church. So typically, if someone is buying a home that is so far away from their normal, area, that typically is not a very strong motive by the buyers. because they need to take commute into considerations. So another things, like I helped one of my buyer got into Maya Mesa a few months ago. That was the same thing. She her fiance's home is within walking distance, so that was one of the things she told me, and we make sure the listing agents know about it, because there's nowhere else the buyer want to buy except in that area. So if you can communicate that, which is a very very strong motivator for the buyer, then that would be a good thing for the listing agent to know. So that's number one thing. And then second thing is, talk about your financial stability. So in this case, this was a 1031 exchange person. When she mentioned 1031 exchange, all the light bulb just start coming out. Because for me, I know what 1031 exchange is. You don't need to explain to me. But don't assume the listing agent know what 1031 exchange is. You can kind of maybe ask the listing agent, like, I have a buyer, I represent a 1031 exchange buyer. Are you familiar with that? Are you okay with the 1031 exchange? Because sometimes the seller don't want to close that soon. But my seller in this case want to close very quickly. So the 1031 really, really work for them. And then so talk about proximity to your normal activity. That will be where you live, where your family, friends live, your church, your work, or your shopping area, and things like that, things you want to do. The second thing is talk about your motivations, why you want to buy there, why you want to close so early. Talk about your financial stabilities. Like in this case, it's a 1031 exchange buyer, so I know I'm not going to worry about whether they're going to qualify for the loan or not. But if your buyer, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but it's like if your buyer, I couldn't figure out the right word to say, but if your buyer need to get loan, you need to kind of figure out what is the best way to tell the listing agent your buyer is not going to back out. Because why would the listing agent or seller select your offer when they have a cash buyer, when they have a loan buyer with a DU desktop underwriting approval, when the buyer with high, down payment? So you need to kind of figure out all those and try to kind of appear to the seller's motivations. Because in the past, I have helped VA buyer got their offer accepted when the seller themselves has a connection with military. I usually kind of test that with the listing agent, because I usually will contact the listing agent. And Kenny, actually, that's another thing I want to share with the agent is, don't just send in the offer and just cross your finger hoping your offer is going to get accepted. Usually, it will not. If you never talk to the listing agents, the chances are very, very small. Because, like, for example, with a VA loan, if I talk to the listing agent, I still remember my first VA deal. I talked to the listing agent. I say, hey, Mrs. So and so, my buyer is a VA buyer. They're going to use the VA loan. Will that be a problem with you or your seller? And the listing agent told me, no, not at all. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like music to my ear, because
Yeah, yeah.
most of the agent will tell you, no, we prefer all cash. We prefer conventional. We prefer, whatever. This is a
Okay.
listing agent told me, no problem at all. And
Wow.
so that gave me another hint. This agent or the seller has connection to military, because
Yeah.
usually they have personal relationship. That's why they say no to that. So anyway, I think that's just like you need to listen the message between the word, not just the word itself. Try to figure out what they are trying to tell you, maybe unconsciously, things like that. But anyway, if that's too much detail, that you can let me know. But anyway, I usually like to have a very strong offer. I usually like to make sure the listing agents know about my buyer, remember my buyer. If you couldn't talk to the listing agent, it's not the end of the world. You could always send text messages. That's another thing I found. A lot of listing agents are very busy. They don't pick up their phone, but they might respond via text. So go ahead and send a text message in and give a short summary and then have some conversation with them. Because can you remember? Believe it or not, I received 10 offers. I do not remember all the offers. I only
Of course.
remember the one I have interaction with.
Of course, of course, of course. I think that's one of the difficulties that many newer agents have because they don't have good communication skills. They are not quite there yet. They are still trying to develop their communication skills. Sometimes your buyer's offer may have certain strengths in them. If you don't present it in the right way, people don't see the strengths.
Correct.
Also, the way you say, how you present your buyers is extremely important. Otherwise, it's easy for them to just kind of glance over it. So I think I would definitely, if I want to get an offer accepted, I would definitely talk to the listing agent, because when I talk to the listing agent also will get a feel for what kind of person I am. They can
For sure.
they can form a mental impression of what is it going to be like working with me, okay? And am I the kind of agent who that listing agent can count on? When I need to communicate with the selling agent, is he responsive? So these are some of the things that don't think that, if your price is the highest, you are king, you're definitely going to get. Of course, price being just one thing, but then there are other factors as well.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, I share about the buyer's example today. The listing agent specifically said your offer was not the highest, but you wrote a very, simple, straightforward offer, and my broker like you. See, the thing is, the interaction is very important. Kenny, I have some buyer's agent when I'm a listing agent. You won't believe this. I have a buyer's agent curse at me, like yell at me.
Oh my
How would their
God.
offer got accepted? They
Okay.
won't even have a second chance.
No chance at
Because
all, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but sometimes the buyer's agents didn't realize they jeopardized their buyer's chance of their offer being accepted. It's just like, for example, on the seller multiple counter offer. Oh, here's another tip I want to share with you. On the seller multiple counter offer, if this is truly your buyer's highest and best, and there's no way for them to go up, you please still respond. Just write it back and write, whatever price is my buyer's highest and best. Because if you don't respond, for me, at least for me, because I received like 10, so many offers, I would think maybe your buyer is not interested anymore. Even
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
just see, I think it's important because that's one of the things. If you don't even have the time to send me that buyer's counter offer, how could I count on you when we open escrow, right? So always send that in to the listing agent, even though you are not changing the number. I think I remember I shared that example with the audience a few months ago. I
Yeah, you
got one
did,
of
you
my
did.
buyer
Yes.
accepted. I just wrote, this is my buyer's highest best. And remember that deal? I got my buyer $50,000 under the highest offer. We still got
Yeah,
our
you
offer
did, you
accepted.
did. Yeah. I
Yeah, so
remember that one.
I think it's very important. Just make sure you do something. Don't just think they will remember you, because as a listing agent, they are getting so many offers, so many counter offer. If you don't send it in, they are not going to remember you want to use the previous price. So yeah,
Okay.
that was one of the tip I have.
All right,
Um,
Jean. Wonderful presentation. But
yeah,
I'm going to have to go back to our conclusion. I have one question for our expert presenters tonight. One question I have is I'm kind of curious about what to expect the winter of 2021. As you know, in the winter of 2020, the market didn't slow down at all. It just kept going and going and going like Duracell. So are we going to expect a Duracell market in 2021 winter, or are we going to expect going back to normalcy? Tim.
Okay, great question, Kenny. And to me, I think it's not only Duracell, it's gonna be Energizer Bunny. It's gonna not it's gonna be continuous and stronger than ever. The two main reasons why is because uh, what causes the 2020 market to boom in a positive way is that there are so many demand and not enough inventory, and that has never caught up. The inventory has never caught up, and there were less builders building houses due to labor constraint and also raw materials. So since 2020, late 2020 till now, that demand hasn't been caught up yet to the I mean the inventory hasn't caught up yet to the demand, and the demand is so high that people that used to rent are saving up to buy their own dream homes. With the demand that high and with the current market condition, so far from what I see is that a lot of homes that's being sold either with all cash or by loan, it's very strong because these lenders, they don't lend money out easy like back in 2008 2009. So this is one thing that will make the market even stronger. And like what Gene said, you snooze you lose. If you find a house you like, you got to jump on it. You cannot wait. If you think for 10 seconds, it's gone. This is how the market is right now, and it's going to be continuing like that, just like the Energizer Bunny. For next year, I think the second reason is because the government is continuing to print a lot of currencies, a lot of money, and the inflation play its role importantly. This year alone, the inflation went up over 12%. So next year, with that being said, I don't think the government is going to step on a brake. They're not going to raise the interest rate too high. They might raise a little bit just to ease off the uh, the current market condition. But so far, even with the interest rate risen up a little, it hasn't really put a brake on people that's wanting to buy, and that demand will continue on. I would say to be conservative for the next 12 months. So from now to the end of next year, we are going to see this trend continuing until the inventory and the builders or also the resale market has caught up to the demand. We will see a more of a steady climb instead of a rocket climb. So that's my point of view, my opinion. With these two strong factors, there are not going to be any breaks towards the rise of the market.
All right, excellent opinion. How about Jean Riley? Your turn to give your opinion.
Yes, I agree with what Tim said, wholeheartedly, because I still have so many new buyer contacting me want to buy. And as I had mentioned earlier during the presentation, the active listing compared to the same time last year is actually down about 15%. So not only the inventory got tightened up, I feel like there are more buyer wanting to buy. So it's not going to be catching up yet in terms of crashing on the market or things like that. Interest rate is still remain historically low. I mean, I still have buyer getting 2.875. I mean, I think that's like a crazy number. It's you should buy. One of the things I learned about your philosophy about investment or treating money is like having kids when they are ready to go to college or when they are ready to grow up. If you don't let them go, you protect them just like you protect your money. You never want to invest. What happens is your money will depreciate. And then if you don't let go your kids, let them do their thing, let them grow up, you're going to be raising them until they are 50, 60. They are still going to be living at home. So
Oh,
I think that's one of the analogies I heard about investing. It's the same thing as raising kids. You need
okay.
to let go. You need to let go your money to do the bigger, better investment than keeping with you. And why I want to mention that, because it tied back to what Kenny you asked. What I think about the market. That's what many of the investors told me. They don't want to hold on to their cash. They want to buy whenever there's a right opportunity. They want to buy. So I think the market is still going to remain very strong. If you buy now, you're probably going to make tons of money. And then what if the worst case happen? Let's say market crash next year. Would you feel something? Would you feel like you make the wrong deal 10 years from now? Most likely not. That's another thing I heard is most of the time people regret a house they have sold, they shouldn't have sold. However, I have never heard any people say I regret, a house like I bought, but I regret buying that house. I never really heard about that. Most of the buyer, if you can hold on to your house long enough, you're going to the time is going to shelter you from the up and down. In the end, most of the people is going to still come up in the upside. So yeah, I think the market is going to remain strong. And
Okay.
yeah, and also, Kenny, remember we also bought a home ourselves. If I think the
Yeah.
market is going to crash, I probably will not buy, right? I'm personally bought a home just close. So yeah, market will be continue to be strong for at
All right.
least perceivable future.
Okay. Thank you, Jean, and thank you so much, and thank you all my guests, and of course, thank you the audience for attending our monthly market update, Southern California edition.